Before we dive into the darkness of power and manipulation, I want to remind you that this video isn't just any ordinary video. It's designed to reshape how you think, how you act, and how you see the world around you. Now, before we proceed, let's test the universe. Show your desire for knowledge and power by liking this video right now. Subscribe if you dare to walk this path, and drop a comment saying, "I am a genius." I'll personally like your comment because it shows you're ready to embrace the reality of power. Now that the right minds are still here, let's break down how Light Yagami, our beloved anti-hero from Death Note, embodied the 48 laws of power. Each move he made was a masterclass in control, deception, and domination. But be warned, Light's journey is a path that few can walk without falling. He may have achieved incredible feats of manipulation, but in the end, even he faced consequences. So as we unravel the genius behind Light Yagami's strategies, remember, power is both a gift and a curse. Let's start with Law 1, never outshine the master. This law is crucial because the moment you overshadow those in authority, you become a threat. And people in power do not like threats. In the beginning, Light Yagami plays the role of the ideal son and model student perfectly. He excels in his studies, but never to the point where he outshines his father or anyone in the police force. His brilliance is evident, but it's tempered by humility and respect for authority. This allows him to move without suspicion, and nobody, not even his father, who is the head of the Kira investigation, thinks for a second that Light might be Kira. Light's adherence to this law allows him to remain invisible while working in plain sight. It's genius, really. Think about it. Light is right there, in the thick of things, helping the police search for himself. The irony is so thick you could cut it with a knife, and yet, nobody suspects him. By never outshining his father or the other figures of authority around him, Light is free to operate without drawing attention to his true intentions. He keeps their trust, all while plotting their eventual downfall. Now on to Law 3, conceal your intentions. This is where Light really shines. The whole premise of Death Note hinges on the fact that no one, not his family, not his classmates, not even his enemies, knows who Kira really is. Light is the ultimate puppet master, pulling the strings from the shadows. He appears as the perfect son, the ideal student, the person who would never commit such atrocities, and that's the key to his success. Light's ability to conceal his true intentions is what allows him to get so far. He manipulates everyone around him by keeping his cards close to his chest. Even when Light is under heavy suspicion, even when L is breathing down his neck, he never cracks. He's calm, calculated, and always one step ahead. This is why the law is so important. If people don't know your plans, they can't stop them. Light's entire strategy revolves around this idea of concealment. The deeper he gets into the Kira investigation, the more layers he adds to his disguise. He's always thinking ahead, always planning for contingencies, and in doing so, he manages to keep himself hidden, even as Kira's reign grows more oppressive. Law 33, discover each man's thumbscrew. This law teaches us to find people's weaknesses, their insecurities, fears, or desires, and use them to control them. Light is a master at this. Think back to his interactions with Naomi Misora. He didn't just manipulate her, he exploited her deepest emotional vulnerability, her grief over her fiancé's death. Light knew exactly how to push her buttons, gaining her trust, and ultimately leading her to her death. This tactic is cold, but effective. By identifying what made Naomi vulnerable, Light was able to maneuver her like a pawn. And it wasn't just her. Light consistently found the thumbscrews of those around him, whether it was Misa's love for him or Mikami's fanatical devotion to Kira. He used these weaknesses to his advantage, bending people to his will with little effort. It's a testament to Light's brilliance in understanding human psychology. Remember, in the real world, everyone has a weak spot. If you can find that spot and exploit it, you can control them. Light shows us just how powerful this law can be when applied with precision. Law 21. Play a sucker to catch a sucker. This is one of the most dangerous laws to master, but Light executes it flawlessly. The idea here is to play dumb, to appear weaker or less intelligent than you are, so that you can catch others off guard. Light does this when he's working directly with L and the task force. He plays the innocent, well-meaning student, all while plotting their downfall behind the scenes. By playing the sucker, Light manipulates L into thinking he has the upper hand. Light's ability to downplay his intelligence and innocence allows him to move freely without suspicion. The task force believes they have an ally in Light, but in reality, they're walking right into his trap. This is the essence of playing a sucker, to let people think they have the upper hand, all while you're pulling the strings behind the curtain. Law 29. Plan all the way to the end. This is where Light Yagami excels, perhaps more than any other character in the series. His ability to think 10 steps ahead of everyone else is what sets him apart. From the moment he discovers the Death Note, Light plans his rise to power meticulously. Every move is calculated, every decision is made with the endgame in mind. One of the most brilliant examples of this is Light's plan to temporarily lose his memory of being Kira. He orchestrates a series of events that lead to his capture, knowing full well that he will regain his memories at the perfect moment. This level of planning is almost supernatural, and it's why Light is able to stay ahead of his enemies for so long. But even the best-laid plans have their flaws. Light's downfall comes not because of a lack of planning, but because he overextends himself. His hubris, his belief that he's untouchable, ultimately leads to his defeat. Law 15. Crush your enemy totally. This one is brutal, but Light knew how to execute it with precision. You see, when you've identified an enemy, you don't just defeat them, you annihilate them. You leave no room for retaliation, no chance for them to come back and haunt you later. And for Light, that enemy was L, the greatest detective in the world, who stood in his way. L was the only person capable of outsmarting Light, the only one who had the intellect to see through his facade. So, Light couldn't just defeat L, he had to utterly destroy him. L's constant questioning, his relentless pursuit, kept Light on edge. Light understood that as long as L was alive, his own power and safety were in danger. L's suspicions were a problem that could spread to others in the investigation team. So Light did what the 15th law demands. He crushed his enemy totally. When L was gone, there was no one left who could rival Light's brilliance. But this move came with consequences. Light became too confident. He believed that by removing L, he had eliminated all threats. But the law also warns that leaving no enemies can draw suspicion, and that's exactly what happened. Nier eventually rises as a new enemy, and Light's hubris becomes his downfall. Let's move on to Law 6, court attention at all costs. This law is about visibility. If no one sees or notices you, you don't exist in the realm of power. Power needs attention, and Light understood this perfectly. The persona of Kira was not just a means of killing criminals. It was a spectacle. Kira became a symbol, a godlike figure in the eyes of the public. Light knew that by creating Kira, he would attract not only fear, but also admiration. He carefully crafted Kira's public image, making sure that Kira's justice was seen and heard by everyone. Kira's broadcasts became a powerful tool of manipulation. The public's growing belief in Kira's divine justice created a movement, a cult following. And what does Light do? He controls this image while keeping his true identity hidden. Light courts attention in such a way that people are obsessed with Kira, but they never suspect that the young, bright student standing in front of them is the very person pulling the strings. It's a brilliant display of courting attention without ever putting his own identity at risk. This is a crucial lesson for anyone seeking power in the real world. You need attention to thrive, but you must control how it's directed. Light shows us that it's not enough to simply be seen. You need to manage how you are seen. He crafts the Kira persona with such care that the entire world watches, but no one truly sees him. If you've made it this far into the video, you're clearly hungry for knowledge and power. So, here's your chance to show it. Hit the like button if you're ready to embrace these lessons. Subscribe if you want more deep dives into the world of power and anime. And don't forget, drop a comment.